Hi everybody. Very good afternoon. Welcome to this session on XAT. My name is Anupam. Let me just see if it's coming all right here. Please download and install Unacademy app. Please subscribe to Unacademy. And Unacademy subscription is the most amazing investment which you can do into your future. The pricing is will come down to 788 rupees per month if you use the code Saxena Live. So for 24 months, it is 18,900 per month. Cost will come down to 788 rupees. So why I'm asking you people? Because I think that people who are writing CAT next year, for them, the GDPI and other management interest test, they'll only get over by 2020 March, April. So for them, 24 months period makes sense. Let's try to solve some questions here. 38 question. It says that which of the following sentences is grammatically incorrect? The following sentence is grammatically incorrect. Bats are able to fly in the dark. See what happens. Bats are able to. See, can you do this? This question is fine. But bats are able to fly in dark. This is not grammatically correct. See, whenever we say about the ability of something, a person's capability or one's ability to do something, we use a modal verb there, can. So bats can fly in the dark, B. Okay, we can also use like this, bats have the ability to fly in the dark. Correct. Bat cannot fly in the dark if it rains. This is correct. Bats have the ability of flying in the dark if it does not rain. Okay, so these usages are fine, but saying that bat are able to fly in the dark, this is not grammatically correct. They could have said that bats, even if you say bats fly in the dark, that is also correct. Bats fly in the dark, because whenever it is a tendency of an individual to do something, it's their habit, okay, or it is something which they do very often, then you can use simple present also. But saying that bats are able to fly in the dark, this is grammatically incorrect. The 39th, Alfredo, Diego and Lionel are discussing Argentinian football. Alfredo, Diego and Lionel are discussing Argentinian footballs. Alfredo, Argentina was a football powerhouse. Diego says Argentina is a, so Alfredo says Argentina was a was a football powerhouse. Diego says Argentina is a football powerhouse. Okay, and Lionel says Argentina will be a football powerhouse. Right? Which of the following cannot be inferred from the above conversation? Lionel is optimistic, cannot be inferred. Lionel is optimistic about future, correct. Lionel says that in future Africa will be a football powerhouse. Alfredo, Diego and Lionel may disagree on certain things. Okay, yeah, this can be inferred. Diego's views present the present positively. This is also correct. He says Argentina is a football powerhouse. Alfredo completely disagrees with Diego. This we do not know. This we do not know that Alfredo completely disagrees with Diego or not. Right. This we do not absolutely can say with absolute surety that Alfredo completely disagrees with Diego. Alfredo might agree to a certain extent that that Argentina is a football powerhouse also. He might partially or completely agree with this also. Okay. Alfredo has a positive feeling about the past. Alfredo has a positive. This is also correct. But saying that Alfredo disagrees completely with Diego, that is something which we cannot completely comprehend. Hence, this is something which we do not know. Choose the grammatically correct sentence from the options given below. Okay. Surprisingly, given the recent labor reforms in the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from they who had previously challenged his leadership. So they said that the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from they. See, they is what? They is your subjective pronoun. It should be something which is actually the doer of something. It should be something which is the which we are talking about, which is the topic of the conversation, or sometimes speaker himself or herself or themselves or itself can be the subject also. So subject, whenever you use they, we should be using it from a we should be referring to this particular entity being referred to here as the subject of the sentence, which is not the case here. They who had previously challenged his leadership. Surprisingly, given the recent labor problems in the factory, the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from them who had previously challenged his position. Okay. So again, them doesn't sound very appropriate, because them is also more of a it is sometimes used in a format in which you are referring to sometimes people who are sitting nearer to you than someone else. Okay. Also, them would have also been better if there was a reference to them somewhere given. For example, if there was somewhere labor workers or the factory labor or the workers or the factory workers or factory employees, something was that sort of was mentioned in the sentence, then them would have been perfect to connect this to the pronoun is to connect to that particular common noun, the factory worker. Surprisingly, given the recent labor reforms in the problems in the factory, which were supported by a lot of workers, the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from them. from them who had previously challenged leadership. Makes sense to me. But when you're saying them, when you're talking about something which you want to refer to, but they have not been mentioned here as an entity, okay, it would be better to use those here. Okay, let's see if we can find somewhere there. Surprisingly, given the recent labor reforms in the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from those from he who had previously enjoyed his challenges, his leadership. So he is not, see, factory problems will not come from one single person. Right? So he's not correct. Next, surprisingly, given the recent labor reforms in the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from those who had previously challenged his leadership. Those is the right word here. So surprisingly, given recent labor reforms in the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from those who had previously challenged his leadership. F. Surprisingly, given the recent labor problems in the factory manager has enjoyed considerable support from that. That is not correct. See, that and which is used when we're talking about when we're talking about non-living objects or animals. Okay. Then we use which and that. Which and that can also be used for infants also. But it cannot be used for human beings here. So D is the right answer. Anthropologists, people who study animal behavior, have traditionally divided an organism's action into two categories: learned behavior based on experience and instinctive behavior based on genotype. Our organization's actions into two categories: learned behavior and instinctive behavior. Some current scholars reject this distinction, claiming that all behavior is predictable. Interaction of experience is a predictable interaction of experience and genotype. They say that certain behavior is learned based on experience, certain behavior is based on a genotypes. Some current scholars reject this, claiming that all behavior is a predictable interaction of experience and genotype. Which of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument made in the sentence above? Strengthens the argument. Okay. All organisms with identical genotypes and identical experiences sometimes respond differently in different situations. So if people have same genotypes and same experiences, then they must respond in the same manner, right? But they're talking about a predictable interaction of experience and genotype. That means they are not able to predict it actually. So this is we can set. All organizations with different genotypes and identical experiences always respond identically in identical. No, it was saying differently in different situations. Okay, differently in different situations. This doesn't support. It's talking about something else. Different genotypes and identical experiences. Okay, if genotype is different but experience is same, they will respond in the same way. Okay. Then it somewhere supports it actually. See, if genotype are different and their experience is same, but when these two interact, the reaction is identical, then B seems to be correct. to be somewhere better actually than A. All organisms with similar genotypes and similar experience always respond differently in different identical situations. Then this is completely going against what we have said, because here we are not able to predict even nothing. Same experience, same genotype, yet we are not able to predict how the behavior is. All organisms with identical genotypes and identical experience always respond identically in identical situation. Yeah, this is the right answer. This is the right answer, that if two people have identical genotypes and identical experience, then they must respond in similar way in similar situation. Then you are saying correct that we can predict the behavior when there's interaction of experience and genotype. All organisms with identical genotype and different experiences always respond identically in identical situation. This is not relevant here because now we have taken care of it. Option number D, it's the right answer. For the second, the benefits of psychotherapy result not only from the advice the therapist gives, but also from the support relationship offered to the patient. Even though this relationship may cost large amount of money over many years, most patients interpret the therapist's concern for them as genuine and identify this caring relationship as a primary factor of improving their mental health. However, recent studies have found that only 8% of therapist and patient relationships continue after the patient terminates formal paid visits. They're saying that they're saying that advice which therapists give, this is also important, but but also from the supportive relationship which is offered to the patient. Now this also has a lot of has certain element to play. And most patients interpret this as genuine, and they find that this is a very caring relationship, and it can be an important factor in improving their mental health. And but they say that only 8% of the patient therapist patient relationships, 8% of them, they continue after the patient terminates formal paid visits. If the following is in accordance with the ideas contained in the passage, choose the best option. Therapists are equally concerned with money making and their patients' well-being. Not exactly, which we can say. Reading published articles of reputed therapists will be hardly beneficial. This is nowhere concerned. Therapists can always treat mental illness without the use of prescription drugs. This was never mentioned. Therapists can terminate relationships are likely to improve mental health of their patients. This was never mentioned. 8% of will continue to improve after termination. 8% of patients will continue to improve after termination of therapy. So D is not the right, because they sound therapists who terminate relationships are likely to improve mental health of the patients. This is not correct. This because terminate करने से mental health improve होना, this was never mentioned. C, therapists can always treat mental illness without the use of prescription medicines. This was prescription drugs, never mentioned. Reading articles, never mentioned. Therapists are equally concerned with money making and their patients' well-being. We'll come back to this. This is a good question. I wanted to do this impromptu video, so I did not have the answer for this. I don't know which is the right answer, but then we'll come back to it again. We'll do it. Sorry for that. Most of the Asian countries have trade deficit with China. Bangladesh's trade deficit with China is this year increased by 35%. Despite large increase in exports to China, Indonesia's trade deficit to China continues to increase. So does that of South Korea. Home of Samsung Electronics, one of the world's largest manufacturers of electronic gadget. Despite the large increase, so they're saying that there is a trade deficit. All the countries, example China and Indonesia and South Korea, their trade deficit with China is increasing. Sorry. Which of the following, if true, would be most inconsistent with the above paragraph? China is the largest manufacturer of electronic gadgets. Samsung Electronics imports parts for their gadgets from China. That's okay. Maybe it does. And maybe if Samsung imports parts of gadgets from China, this is also okay. Because they're saying only that they have been importing a lot. Exports to Bangladesh are insignificant in proportion to China's total exports. Not relevant. Exports to Indonesia from China decreased. No, this is against, right? We are talking about exports to Indonesia from China decreased. From Indonesia to China decreased. So they're saying that here they said no, despite increase in Chinese exports to China, Indonesia trade deficit continues to increase. That means Indonesia is exporting the amount of export which they were doing to China, that is increasing. There are large increases, but still the trade deficit exists. That means there are two things that probably the gap between the import and export was very big, and it will take Indonesia to take a lot of time to cover it. Or at the same time, Indonesia's export is increasing to China. China's export to Indonesia is also increasing. Okay. So exports to Indonesia from China decrease. This can be found difficult. Chinese chief exports are natural resources. We don't know. So yeah, C is I think it's the right answer, because exports to China from China, exports from Indonesia to Indonesia from China decreased. This we cannot establish. This is something which is against, because either it has remained, because in large increase it is happening from the side of Indonesia. If China will also reduce, the trade deficit cannot. It continues to increase only. And I'm sorry, it's not. It is not. See, if the trade deficit was same, then we could have understood that the gap was big. But the saying it continues to increase. That means the way in Indonesia export to China is increasing, in the similar way Chinese export to Indonesia is also increasing, right? And Chinese exports are increasing with the speed is even better, right? So see, exports to China from exports to Indonesia from China have decreased. This is the right answer. This is something which is most inconsistent, option number C. All who studied commerce enjoy sports. No tax consultant enjoy sports. All those who enjoy sports love classical music. Okay, all who studied commerce enjoy sports. No tax consultant enjoys sports. All those who enjoy sports love classical music. So people all who studied commerce, they enjoy sports. No tax consultant enjoys sports. Okay, that means tax consultant and commerce, they are two separate people. Okay, and all those who enjoy sports love classical music also. There's a classical music also angle also is there. If all of the above are true, which of the following also must be true? No one who enjoys classical music is a tax consultant by profession. No. See, classical music is a different story. When they spoke about classical, see, people who studied commerce, they like sports. All those who enjoy sports, they like classical music. Now, classical music can be a very bigger set. Okay, it can contain a tax consultant also. So no one who enjoys classical music is a tax consultant by profession. This cannot be said without surety. Every tax consultant enjoys classical music. This we also cannot say. A and B both are wrong. No tax consultant enjoys classical music. This we again cannot say. No tax consultant studied commerce. This we can say correctly. Because all those who studied commerce enjoy sports, and no enjoy sports, and no tax consultant enjoy sports, right? So no one who studied no tax consultant studied commerce. Because if there was one person who studied commerce in tax consultant, in the set of tax consultant, he or she must enjoy sports, but which is not happening here. So D is the right answer. Okay. The head dash was annoyed to see a dash in the soup. The option that would best fill in the above sentence. So this here is chef. The head chef was annoyed to see housefly in this. So housefly. So chef spelling is correct in B, D, and E. Okay. What happens is that housefly, if you write without a space, that is also has been seen, and housefly with a space is also been seen. Housefly with hyphen is not been seen. So both, I think B and D both are correct. I don't know why did they make this question like this, but sometimes it happens that when a question like this comes wherein multiple answers are possible, then they give you the leverage of it. They give you sort of this, they give you extra marks for it. Even if the answer they think is incorrect, they give you full marks for attempting the question. Which of the following is opposite of the word hypothesize? Hypothesize means when you create a hypothesis or a theory around it without having all the facts. So posit is same, propose is again same. Or if not same, it's not opposite of it. Conjecture is again there's a bit of an assumption there. When you speculate, that when you is speculate, it is again a speculation, but refuting is to claim that something is not true. So when you hypothesize, you create a certain amount of logic, but when you refute, you condemn it, you undermine it, you weaken it. So D is opposite. D is refute. Refute is opposite of hypothesize. Let's do one parajumble. Read the sentences and choose the option that best arranges them in a logical order. In fact, it is considered as a dumping ground for unwanted people in a few organizations. In many parts of the country, traditional castes such as Kothari, Kotwal, Bandari, Pandarkar have for generations been dealing in procuring, stocking, distributing, and merchandise. This is due to the fact that Indian traders have been trading with many parts of the world. However, though the concept of warehousing has been prevalent for over 2000 years, the warehouse has not obtained the due recognition in modern times. See, when they said it has not obtained due recognition in modern times, in it said no, in fact it is observed. It's a dumping ground for unwanted people in quite a few organizations. So dumping ground for people, not due recognition. That means DNA are correct. DNA are a pair. See, when you have not received your due recognition in modern times, then they're saying that they have been considered the warehouses have been considered as a dumping ground for unwanted people. So DA, they transfer to them, such people, to the organization, and sort of they then sort of take care of them, or they send them to these places where they don't want them. They send them to the warehouses. DA. Okay. Now, E says the concept of warehousing or store functions is not new in India. And here C says this is due to the fact that Indian traders have been trading with many parts of the world. So EC. Why? Because they've been trading with many parts of the world. EC. Right. Then comes B. In fact, in many parts of the country, the traditional castes such as Kothari, Kotwal, Bandakar have for generations been dealing in procuring, stocking, and distributing goods and merchandise. So ECB and then DA are present. The concept of warehousing has been prevalent for over 2000 years. In fact, it is considered as a dumping ground for unwanted people in quite a few organizations. So ECBDA, B option is pakka correct. 48 says concurrence means all of the following except. Concurrence means agreement, accord, consensus, coincidence. See, when you say concurrence, we mean that there is some sort of an agreement. Okay. There is an agreement which has happened, and that is what they are doing. So agreement, concord, accord, consensus, and coincidence, they're all sort of same. Harmony is something which is different. Okay, harmony is something which when we're talking about harmony, we're talking about there is mutual peace. That is different. Agreement, concord, consensus is different. Concurrence also means when two things happen at the same time. So that is coincidence. Right? So yeah, E is the odd one out. Alright everyone, like I said that we have a lot of special classes on our app and our quizzes which are free of cost, for which we don't charge you anything. At the same time, we have So that's a free platform. You can see how do we do. Even better interface, or almost same interface we have when you charge plus, when you plus courses, when you buy a plus subscription. Okay, please utilize live classes, interact with the educator, live polls and leaderboard, test series and analysis, and also have live doubt clearing sessions. This is what we offer when you subscribe to Unacademy. So there are hundreds and hundreds of topic-wise tests, sectional tests, mock test, old question paper, XAT, SNAP, NMAT, all the old question papers are there. You can ask questions to the faculty. Every fourth class is a doubt clearing sessions. So I think the kind of quality which we are offering you at this kind of pricing, this is most amazing thing. And please use the code Saxena Live and get 10% discount.